everyone and welcome back to my channel. It is Christmas, or it was Christmas by the time you watch this video. Christmas will have passed, but for me it is Christmas Day and I wanted to do my Christmas book haul because I ordered a bunch of books for Christmas, getting ready for the new year. And then because it is Christmas, I wanted to get a little dressed up like I did last year, wear one of my dresses that I don't get to wear anymore but that I still love. So I thought I'd get all sparkly and then again represent my non-alcoholic sparkling grape juice, because someday it is my intention to get sponsored by a sparkling grape juice. That would be fantastic. This year I decided on a jus de raisin pétillant premium non alcool, which is alright. It's not my favorite. It has tea in it, which I can taste, and I don't like tea, so a little unfortunate, but it's fine. I'll drink it, I'll finish it. But cheers to everyone. Hope you guys all had a Merry Christmas, or Merry whatever, and that you received lots of books. So speaking of books, let's get into it. For me, as I always explain, a book haul is very often just a TBR announcement. These are the books that, because I've received them most recently, they're going to be the books I'm most excited about, and they're going to be the books I try to get to first. And I think I already know which book is going to be my first book of next year, so I'm very excited. I do think among this pile will be the first books of 2022, which will be a good surprise when we get there. But yeah, let me start. And I'm going to start with the book that is the most experimental for me. It's definitely a book that I'm going to see where it takes me, but I am still very excited because I think I'm really going to like this. And that book is No One in 100,000 by the Italian Luigi Pirandello. And this book is about a man who is looking at himself in the mirror, and in particular he's looking at his nose. His wife comes in, asks what he's looking at. He says, well, I'm just looking at my nose. And she says, oh, you mean the part about how your nose is kind of crooked? And he gets obsessed with that idea that he has this crooked nose, and it sends him into this self-doubting spiral of dread and, I don't know, existentialism or things like that. I mean, it sounds really fascinating. The book chapters are really absurd. So it's separated into 8 books. Book 1, Chapter 1, My Wife and My Nose. Chapter 2, And Your Nose. Chapter 3, Fine Way of Being Alone. Chapter 4, The Way I Wanted to Be Alone. Chapter 5, Pursuit of the Outsider. Chapter 6, At Last. And so on and so on. So I think this is going to be this really absurd book about self-dread, identity. It's giving me a lot of Kobo Abe vibes. And I think I'm gonna love this. It's the most experimental on my in this book haul, but I think it's gonna be really, really fantastic. So I'm really looking forward to this one. Next, as I always do, I picked up a Philip K. Dick, a science fiction author. I've read 2 of his books now, but they're very, very unfamous books. So this time I decided to go for one of his most famous books. This is The Man in the High Castle. And basically it's about what would happen if the US had lost World War II. So now the US is occupied by Nazi Germany and Japan. Slavery is once again legal in the US, and it's 1962. This sounds absolutely fascinating. It explores so many topics that I have really delved into in the past, both in terms of fiction and nonfiction. I'm very keen to see the role of Japan in this book. I think it'll be really, really exciting. So that is The Man in the High Castle, and I absolutely love this. And I don't know if you guys remember, or if you watched the video where I talked about movie tie-in covers for Japan versus the US. and how I complained about like the really, really big stickers on the American books that always talk about like prizes or Netflix films and stuff. I think this one is so good because you have the this is a good example of good marketing where you have the author that's prominent, the title is prominent, and in a nice little subtle font, it just says winner of the Hugo Award. So very simple, like just clean, so clean, gets the message across that it's an award-winning book, but just subtle, you know, not this like absurd marketing. Anyway, I just needed to point that out because some of the books later on in this pile do have the horrible sticker. But to go into more science fiction, I absolutely love John Wyndham's oh my gosh, the one with the flowers. The oh no, what's it called? The one with the flowers and everyone goes blind, and tell me, what is that called? This is horrible. What is it called? No, it's not in front of me. I don't remember. Because this title, okay, I'm just gonna go into this. But I read John Wyndham's the story with the alien flowers and everyone goes blind. You know what I'm talking about. It sounds too similar to this one, and now this title is in my head. But I did get the Chrysalids. Basically this one is about a genetic mutation that has devastated the world, and in it the children are able to transfer thought shapes into each other's mind, and consequences arise. And this is one of his most famous books, and I'm super excited to get back into John Wyndham because the other book, although I can't remember the title right now, was absolutely fantastic, mesmerizing. It gave you so much to think about, and I'm really excited to enter his world again. And then I wasn't satisfied with getting just one of his books. I also decided to get the Midwich Cuckoos. This one sounds The Day of the Triffids. The flower book is called The Day of the Triffids. There we go. Okay, so I decided to get the Midwich Cuckoos, which basically is about in the village of Midwich, a mysterious silver object appears. All the inhabitants fall unconscious. They wake up. Turns out all the women are now pregnant. And the story is about the children of Midwich that result from these pregnancies. And that just sounds incredibly eerie and just like just spine chilling, and I'm absolutely going to love this. I know. So the Midwich Cuckoos by John Wyndham, absolutely enthused about reading this one. So next I have a few Penguin classics. I decided to get the book The Passing by Nella Larsen. Look at this beautiful cover, ruined by this a Netflix film. It's just like, I'm not very happy about that. But yeah, this otherwise super beautiful cover. Passing is a book that has become quite popular on BookTube, and it sounds absolutely fascinating. It's two friends, two black friends who grew up together, but in adulthood they decided they live separate lives. They are basically very light-skinned, and so one of the friends decides to join the white community, sort of pretending to be a white woman. She marries a very racist man, and she ends up reuniting with her friend who decided that she was going to be very much part of the black community and live as a black woman because, you know, they're both black women. And it's sort of just the repercussions of that one friend's choice of passing off as a white woman, and whether or not she can actually rejoin the black community, and whether she can find her sense of identity, especially since she has lived such a long life passing as a different race. So I think this is going to be absolutely fascinating. Really super excited about this one, and then I will watch the Netflix movie once I've read it. I mean, it's gonna happen, but... Next, I decided to get the book Uncle Silas by Sheridan Fanu. This book, I don't really remember what it's about because I watched a booktube review on it and a booktube recommendation on it that sounded absolutely fascinating. And then once I received this book and I read the back of the book, they didn't seem like the same book. So I don't know. I think it's gonna be kind of like The Woman in White. When I read this, the blurb to The Woman in White, The Woman in White, the blurb didn't really tell me anything, but I loved the book, and I think this is kind of the same thing. I will read the blurb to you, and maybe it'll do something for you. But this book sounded so exciting, even without reading the blurb, that I got it. So that's all I'm trying to say. But let's read the blurb. From the moment that Madame de la Rougière is hired as governess to the young, naive Maud Rutten, a dark cloud of foreboding hangs over the entire household. A liar, a bully, and a spy, Madame eventually leaves, taking her dark secret with her. But, unhappily for Maud, that is not the last of Madame de la Rougière, for when Maud is orphaned, she is sent to live with her mysterious uncle Silas, a man with a scandalous, even murderous past, and encounters Madame once more. This time, her sinister role in Maud's destiny will become all too clear. Uncle Silas goes far beyond the bounds of the conventional horror story, as it depicts the subversion of reality and illusion and the layers of Maud's passions and fears. So, yeah, don't really know what the book is about, but I was very, very much impressed by the original reviewer of this book, and so this is a book I'm absolutely excited for. I'm really thinking it's going to give me that fantastic, unput-downable vibe that The Woman in White gave me, and that was just absolutely like a real treasure to read. So very excited about Uncle Silas. I think this is going to be so much fun to read. And then I got a book that I've had my eye on for years, and I finally bit the bullet and picked it up, and that is The Nun by Denis Diderot. Unfortunately, after I purchased the book, I realized that Denis Diderot is a French author and that I should be reading this in the original French, but it's a little bit too late, so I'm just going to go ahead and read it in English. But this book is just, I'm so excited about this. I can't tell you how excited, because it's basically a book that talks about the absurdity and the danger of religion, which for me is a topic that absolutely fascinates me. And so I just know I'm gonna love this. So I am gonna read the blurb because it has there's so many layers to this book that it's incredible. So in 1758, Diderot's friend, the Marquis de Croixmare, became interested in the cause célèbre of a nun who was appealing to be allowed to leave a Paris convent. Less than a year later, in an affectionate attempt to trick his friend, Diderot created this masterpiece, a fictitious set of desperate and pleading letters to the Marquis from a teenage girl forced into the nunnery because she is illegitimate. In these letters, the impressionable and innocent Suzanne Simonin describes the cruelty and abuse she has suffered in an institution poisoned by vicious gossip, intrigues, persecutions, and deviance. Considered too subversive during Diderot's lifetime, The Nun first appeared in print in 1796. Part gripping novel, part licentious portrayal of sexual fervor, and part damning attack on oppressive religious institutions, it remains one of the most utterly original works of the 18th century. So, I mean, really the backstory is so fascinating because, Denis Diderot tricked his friend Marquis into believe that this nun actually existed, and so the Marquis was actually trying to genuinely help this fictitious nun, because the Marquis had actually had previous experience doing something quite similar, and then Diderot wrote this to sort of convince his friend, and then his friend became aware that it was actually all fiction, and it's a ridiculous story, but it's just right up my alley. So The Nun by Denis Diderot, super excited about this. Also, how do we feel about these shiny Penguin Classic covers versus these matte Penguin covers? I can't decide which I like best, because the passing is matte and this is gorgeous, but this just looks kind of old and this looks gorgeous. I don't know. Anyway, very excited about those. 2 more books left in my pile. I got Don Casmurro by Machado de Assis. I absolutely loved the posthumous memoirs of Bras Cubas by Machado de Assis. I read this past year, so I had to get Don Casmurro. It's just, he's just an amazing writer. I want to read so much more. What is this about? Bento Santiago is madly in love with his neighbor Capitu. He even breaks a promise his devout mother made to God that he become a priest in order to marry her. However, once read, Bento becomes convinced that Capitu is having a torrid affair and that his best friend has cuckolded him. So yeah, it's gonna be good. It's just, there's nothing to be said. This edition also is absolutely beautiful. Really, absolutely am so excited to read this. And then final, I got one nonfiction book by the author of the biography of Mao. So you guys all know that I've been reading Mao by Jung Chang, which is absolutely fantastic. You will see this in my December wrap-up, finally. But I decided to get one of her other nonfiction books, which is The Empress Dowager Cixi, the concubine who launched modern China. So basically, this is the last of the monarchy right before the Communist Party. So I'm kind of going just a smidge backwards into time now that I've read so much about Communist China. And this one is just absolutely fantastic. So in 1852, at age 16, Cixi was chosen as one of Emperor Zhongfeng's numerous concubines. When he died in 1861, their 5-year-old son succeeded to the throne. Cixi at once launched a coup against her son's regents and placed herself as the true source of power. Drawing on newly available sources, Chang comprehensively overturns Cixi's reputation as a conservative despot. Cixi's extraordinary reign saw the birth of modern China. Under her, the ancient country attained industries, railways, electricity, and a military with up-to-date weaponry. She abolished foot binding, inaugurated the liberation of women, and embarked on a path to introduce voting rights. So yeah, this sounds absolutely fantastic. It's definitely, I'm going to be very interested to read this along with another nonfiction that I plan on buying. It's just, it was out of stock when I had the intention of buying it. But there's another nonfiction I want to read that is, it's written by the, what is it, Princess Darling, I don't know, but she was a lady in waiting of the Empress Dowager Cixi, so she's a primary source to this woman, and so I would love to read both of them and kind of compare sort of Jun Chang's approach to this woman and someone who was actually a lady in waiting of the actual woman of at hand. But in any case, I mean, the Mao biography is so excellently written, so excellently researched. It's a book that doesn't require you, like, it's so well presented that you just, you never think, oh wait, I should Wikipedia that because I don't really know what's going on. It's not that at all. And so I think reading about this character will be absolutely fantastic, and I just know Zhu Chang's going to do an absolutely wonderful job with this biography as well. So super excited, especially to continue my China journey as I go through the ages, and yeah. So, yeah, that's it for my very last book haul of the year. My local bookstore is having a January winter sale, so maybe I'll get some more books there, and that could turn into a book haul for the first book haul for 2022. But for now, that's all I have, and I'm excited to see what 2022 is going to bring me. I'm so super excited. I think it's going to be a good reading year, and I have a lot of good ideas. I have a lot of ideas of what I want to do, and yeah, I mean, I'll talk about all of that later. I'll definitely have a January sort of like goals, ideas, like maneuverings I want to do kind of video. I will also definitely have a 2021 in review video where I give stats, I tell you my favorite books, my least favorite books, etc. So that will all be coming in due time. For now, I really hope you enjoyed this book haul. I hope you look forward to me reading some of these books. Maybe you'll be interested in picking them up for yourself, so you can read along. And I just hope you've had a very good holidays. And I will see you next weekend with my December wrap up. Cheers. Bye.